anytime you feel any sort of jolt of excitement about something, double down, triple down in learning about it and immersing yourself in that. And if you do that, there's going to be one moment where everything's going to click and make sense. You're going to know what to do. And then it's very simple after that. All right, girlies, what are we doing today? Happy Wednesday. All the vibes are here. I'm doing my first solo pod. Let me tell you, doing something for the first time is incredibly scary. Like, I am so nervous here. I am shaking. And I'm literally alone in this room. Like, no one is here to watch me. I could totally scrap this. I could never publish this episode. But that is not how I do things out here. I committed to doing the solo pod. I said that I would respond to your career crises if you DM'd me, which you guys did. I had literally over 50 people DM me. So we're all out here in our little crises, and it's time we talk about them. I'm not going to sit here and say I have all the answers. In fact, I left my big tech job. I think it's coming around to be a full year since I've done this, which is wild because I've been saying, oh yeah, I quit my job a few months ago, 6 months ago, and I forgot to update that meta because time passes. And I've just been saying that to people, which is not true. It's been an entire year, which is crazy, but literally best year of my life. And I think a lot of people ask me why I quit my big tech job. I had literally the dream job, guys. I was a product manager at a big tech company where work-life balance was real. My coworkers were my besties, and my manager was freaking awesome. So let me tell you that all this stuff looks amazing on paper, but the day-to-day practice of it, I can't even explain it to you because you feel this inner guilt of I'm supposed to love this. Like, everyone wants my job. Everyone is jealous of me, but I don't want it. Like, I don't want this job. I don't care about the money. I want to do stuff that feels meaningful to me. I want to make an impact on the world. I want to make a difference. I want to do stuff that I feel like I'm uniquely suited to do. And I did not feel like I was the greatest product manager of all time. I did not feel like if the company got rid of me tomorrow, the company would change. And I don't want to spend all day, every day working towards something at an organization where I didn't really make a difference. And I don't think that is my fault or the company's fault. I think it just happens when you work at a big organization. Also, I loved being a product manager, but it almost felt like I was getting FOMO about being a founder and actually running my own thing. Like, I have always wanted to do that since I was 14. So I will talk more about that, but I want to get to your career crises. I picked 10 that I felt were most relevant, most interesting. I'm not going to sit here, like I said before, tell you what the right thing to do is. I'm just going to give you my hot take. And by the way, I have barely read these. I've mostly skimmed them just to pick the 10. And the reason why I didn't read them in advance, think about them, because I want to give you my most honest, intuitive first thought on what I think you guys should do, because when it comes to building your career, we overthink. We think we want to do this thing for the money, or this thing because it'll make my parents happy, or this thing because it'll give me social clout and it'll validate me. And that is how you pick wrong careers. Not saying that you can't choose something for financial stability, or you can't choose something for the brand name because for some reason that's going to get you to the next step, which is so real, but it has to be intentional. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to do things intentionally to get you to your dream path, even if that means not doing your dream path tomorrow, because that is not realistic. I knew I wanted to start a company at 14. I started my company Genchi, in college. I knew I wanted to do that. There was no doubt about it. I'm doing it today. But had I gone and started that the second I wanted to do that, it would have been the wrong time. And I knew that, and I didn't exactly know what the right time was or what I needed, but I knew that when it happened for me, it would be obvious. And then it did happen for me, and it became obvious, and I did the thing that people struggle to do, which is I quit my job and I took a leap of faith, and I followed my gut. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So, first, response. If you're a listener and you haven't submitted a career crisis, you're welcome to submit them. You can DM me on TikTok. You can DM me on Instagram. You can email me. You can respond via comment on this YouTube video. Whatever. I'll get to it. Maybe not this episode. Maybe not next episode. But I'll get to it. Don't worry. Okay, first one. So, she says, I'm 24 years old. I have just been let go from my job. This is the first time I'm experiencing this, and it feels extremely isolating. I've got a background in marketing, and I currently live in Austin, Texas. I'm finding that there are not many opportunities in the city for those my age who are not necessarily entry level. But also, I don't have 5+ years of experience. I'm in this weird in-between, and the jobs I've made it to the final rounds always end up picking the other candidate. The feedback is that they have more experience, and I'm afraid it will continue this way. I feel confident in myself and my capabilities, but I'm just looking for someone to take a chance on me. I'm worried if I take another job entirely unrelated to my career, it'll be even harder in the long run to continue in the marketing space. So first of all, I want to say, I hear you. You and many other people right now are feeling very isolated in this recession who don't have a job. And I want you to know that in these down economies, this is so normal. And this is not a representation of who you are and your career and your experience. But we still got to solve the problem. We still got to get you a job. The first thing I'm going to point out here is that you end with, I want to continue in the marketing space. And you're afraid that you'll take another job that will be unrelated and you won't be continuing there. The fact that you know what you want to do and you know what industry you want to stay in, that is phenomenal. Most people have no idea. If you feel very excited about marketing, if that is what speaks to you, girl, that's everything. You've basically almost made it at this point. I think finding conviction in what you're doing and understanding if you're in the right place is the part that most people struggle with. And so if you feel sure about that, yeah, don't take a job outside of marketing. You should stay in that lane and you should pursue that career. So I love that you are being intentional about what jobs you're working towards, and also that you're not sacrificing what you want just because we're in a down economy. So you have to keep working towards that. The second thing is you mentioned that, Austin, Texas might not have enough entry-level opportunities for you. I want to preface by saying that a lot of these bigger cities like New York, LA, and SF have just a lot more companies, specifically a lot more startups and younger people who are hustlers and also more open-minded to people less experienced. Go move there. Like, if you're noticing that Austin is not giving you what you need, you have to step out of your comfort zone and go live somewhere else. I think we often see moving as this permanent thing. It's not permanent. Like, anything is as temporary as you make it. You can literally go there for a month. You can go there for years. It is fully on you. I think the bigger question here is not about you being courageous enough to go to a city that, there are hundreds of thousands of other 20-somethings who are also looking for these jobs and also thousands of positions that you could totally go for. Is the financial barrier, right? It obviously costs a ton of money to live in these cities. So maybe if you don't have a job and you can't afford it right now, which is so real, I get that. I literally left New York because the rent was through the roof and I stopped justifying like a work reason to be there. Not whenever, just every single day, the entire year. I still go to New York all the time, right? But anyways, now I'm off track. Classic. What was I saying? Yes, just put on your LinkedIn profile that you live in New York or you live in SF. Like, just don't move there. Just say you live there already and then apply for jobs in the cities, because once you get the job and you land that offer and then you get the salary, then you can afford it, then you can move. So think about that. Think about just changing it. I mean, who cares? No one's actually checking to see if you actually live there. You can just say, oh yeah, like I'm moving, if they really question you about it in that moment. And maybe you'll have more options available for you, because when it comes to landing a job, it's just a numbers game. It literally will take you applying to thousands of jobs to get one yes, and that is not because you are bad or you don't have good enough experience or you're not good enough. It is just literally what it's like for everyone getting a job. So if it's a numbers game, you should optimize for cities with more job opportunities, like these big cities. And don't take this stuff personally. It's not about you. That's the reality. So, girl, I want to see you changing your LinkedIn location tonight. And I want to see you starting to apply to jobs outside of Austin, Texas. And I want you to apply to more jobs. I want you to, don't apply to 10 a day. I want you to apply to 20 a day. You are committed to this. If you want this to happen for you, you have to do more. And I promise you're going to get it. because someone who is so sure about what they care about and what they want to do in their life, that's everything. You bring that conviction in an interview, people see that. I'm excited for you. Let me know how it goes. Okay. Moving on to the next one. Let's see. So she says, hey, I'm a BA English Language and Literature second-year student. And I couldn't do any work during my first year due to multiple reasons, but I'm really, really looking for internships and part-times right now. I can't do an extra placement year here as it's not financially possible for me. Hence, I desperately need relevant internships for experience, and I feel so lost. There are so many things on the internet. Do you have any advice for this? Well, I'm going to just say one thing. Internships are a shit show. Like, let me tell you, if it's that hard getting a job, just 10x that for an internship. Because technically, this concept of internships came around in the last decade when tiger moms and tiger dads really pushed their kids to do way more to get into like the best colleges. This isn't even a real concept technically. Like back in the day, when you were younger, you would go waitress or, I don't know, volunteer at a library or something. So if you're not getting an internship right now, don't chill. Don't worry about it. It's so normal. If it's about getting experience on your resume to land a job when you graduate, that is a separate topic because there are ways to do that without formal internships, which I can talk about in a sec. If this is about money though, I have to break it to you, getting a paid internship, 0.001% of people in college get that. That's the reality. So if it doesn't work out for you, forgive yourself. Just like applying a job, it's a numbers game. But if this is about getting experience, if this is not about money for you, there are a lot of ways to create experience on your resume outside of waiting for the world to hand you an internship. If you can get an internship, dude, that is freaking fabulous. I am ecstatic for you. You are definitely a rare breed if you manage that. I got internships in college, but I would spend my entire school year to get an internship. It wasn't like I just 2 months before the summer started, woke up and realized I needed an internship. No, literally last day of my internship, I was already thinking about what my internship was going to be in the next summer, and I was already working towards that. So it's hard. It's not easy. I would literally prioritize getting an internship over classwork, over my exams. For me, that was the whole point of going to school, was to get something that summer, because I wanted both. I wanted the money and I wanted the experience, and I did not want to compromise. And I wanted also the job I wanted with the role I wanted, and specifically at this kind of a company. I was kind of a freak in college. Truly, I was very one-track mind. That was the whole thing. I would sometimes not study for exams and not go to class if I had an interview the next day. So if you want to be batshit crazy like that, you're definitely going to get an internship. Because the people who get shit in the end are those that try the hardest. It's just a game of who tries the hardest, right? There's going to be a certain number of internship slots, and there's way more students who want them, and so the ones who just try the hardest end up getting slots. So, if you want to work every single day, the entire year, and prioritize your social life, your exams, and, deprioritize your social life and exams and classes and grades and all that for the sake of an internship, yeah, you're going to 100% land it. But if you want to just be a normal, sane person, there is a chance you might not. And so let's talk about how you can create your own experience. I need to take a break for a sec. I feel like I'm talking for so long, and it's literally been, 15 minutes? Okay, yes. Creating experience on your resume. There are basically two ways you can go about this. First is you come up with your own project. That could be, building yourself an app. You could do your own research project. You could start your own social media account and grow followers and do basically self-create a marketing internship. literally anything works. Like if you're just doing something and you're learning something and you can quantify what you've learned and what impact you've made, that is an internship basically. Just call it experience on your resume. You could say, I started a YouTube series and I got 1,000 subscribers within 3 months. You've quantified it, you grew 1,000 subscribers, and you can talk about what you learned. You learned filming and editing and producing and marketing a concept. Like, that counts. That is impressive. And you don't need to wait on anyone for getting that on your resume. It is about framing though, right? Like you can't just go do something random and then not talk about it properly on your resume, not quantify it, the impact that you made, and not frame it as experience. Like if you mess that up, yeah, it's going to look lame. So think about your framing when you do that. The second option, obviously, is to work for free. So this is a very much a hot take, like free labor is blah, blah, blah bad. Yeah, obviously it's bad, but beggars can't be choosers. If you don't have an internship, you can either do nothing, you can be creative and hustle enough to make your own and then also take the chance of framing it correctly. Or you can just like hit up a bunch of people and say, hey, like I'll work for you for free, like give me something. You saying that they're going to say no to free work? Like obviously not. And then on your resume, when you put that experience, you don't have to tell anyone you worked for free. They're not going to ask. To them, you were part of that 0.01% of people that got an internship. And that is sick. And that's literally it. So I see an internship for you this summer. If you can't get a paid one, like a part of a program or whatever, it's so far from the end of the world. Like for sure, you can build something super meaningful that is going to get you to the next stage of your career. And if you want specific advice on how to do that, DM me. I'll walk you through it. Okay, moving on. Oof, this one. This one speaks to my soul. Okay, here we go. I want to build a startup and invest my 100% time and energy into it. I have everything I need to make it happen. Bro, I cannot read. The work ethic to put in the work. A technical co-founder who has the same work ethic and is looking to build something alongside someone full-time, and the passion to make it happen. The only thing stopping me is the fact that I am not in a place where I can have little to no income. I need to support myself, and I hate the fact that money is stopping me from potentially building something great. I'm extremely passionate about EdTech, specifically K-12 education and youth mentorship, if you're wondering. Okay. Obviously, this one speaks to my soul. That was literally me. Fast forward a few years into the future, I will probably not even remember how much this was crushing my soul when I was graduating college, knowing I wanted to start a company, knowing that I wasn't going to find that fulfillment in a big tech job, but still took that big tech job. And here's why. Because I think there's a right time to do everything. Just because you want to do something does not necessarily mean that it's the best time for you to do it. When I graduated college, I had a student loan. I had all these dreams and desires of getting my first apartment in a big city. I wanted to live my best life. You cannot do that with no money in the bank account, obviously. So for me, that was my priority. I needed to emerge as an adult out of college. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the social validation of a big tech brand name on my resume was not important to me. I grew up in Silicon Valley where that shit was important. People looked at that, and having that, you were more accepted in the room. You were not looked down upon. You were considered successful, not a loser, that you made it, right? And I didn't really see those things in people or in what I wanted, but I needed that validation. I grew up in a society where that validation was required of me. And I just knew I needed to just cross this shit off my bucket list. I need to cross the big tech job. I need to get enough money in my bank account where when I was ready to start the company, I could still live the life that I wanted, right? I could still have that apartment, live in a big city, and not feel the day-to-day stress of financial insecurities. And the reality of the situation is, if you are stressed about money, how the heck are you going to build a great company? Building a great company is one of the hardest things you could do. 99% of startups fail. And so when you're going to embark on that journey, you have to actually optimize for everything in your life to be zen and at peace within yourself and working for you to make the impossible possible. So if you feel like you don't have the financial security to go and do this, then that is your answer. I'm sorry to say, but you need to go build that financial security for yourself before you build that company. And I wish someone had told me this earlier, because I thought I was doing the financial security for myself for some sort of like internal validation that I could live the life what I wanted regardless of what I pursued. But I wish someone had told me that there's a certain amount of progress you can make part-time on a company to really validate the idea, the space, build the foundations, build your network. All of that is so critical to your company succeeding. I wish I had known that and I had been more intentional about it. I was working part-time on my company throughout the entire time I had a full-time job. I would 9 to 5 work on my job and then 5 to 9 work on this. But I was working on this side hustle not for the intention of building the right foundational blocks for me to succeed in the future. I was building it on the side. I just fucking loved it. I just loved it. And I was so excited about it. And for me, I was like, that is a company to build. If I love it, that's just what it needs to be. But had I been more intentional about it, had I been more intentional about who I was networking with, had I been more intentional about building an actual audience, that when I was ready to launch a company, I could launch into that audience, I was not really doing things with strategy. I was randomly doing them. Was more in a spray and pray mode of spray things on the wall because it excited me versus throwing on the wall because it's going to build the blocks for when I am ready to quit my job that I can skyrocket my company. So I'm kind of starting from scratch, and that's okay. I'm happy with the security that I got from the brand name on my resume, from the financial security it got me, to kind of be okay with, hey, I'm going to take a year to build the building blocks of my company before I launch my thing. But see, you can do that with the job. You can intentionally think about the building blocks you want to build while also taking a job to give you that financial security for when there's going to be a moment where you feel really good about the money in your bank account and you also feel really good about the direction of where you're going with your company and you've built the right foundation because you've been intentionally building those blocks on the side, that it's going to feel so good and so secure to quit your job and start that company. And when you're going into that with that security and that confidence, you bet you're going to make it. You're going to make it. You're going to build that dream company and you're going to do it loving every second. And that's how you need to build a company. And so, yes, you have everything. You have the work ethic. You have the technical founder, but your work ethic isn't going anywhere. And if your technical co-founder really believes in the same mission as you do, as much as you do, they're not going to go anywhere. They're going to stick by your side and navigate this time in your life. Probably have their own personal stuff to navigate, and you guys are going to come together in the right moment and build something freaking awesome. So I'm very excited for you. I love that you want to do more, and I'm confident you're going to succeed. And it is okay if you don't go and do this tomorrow, and you need to build whatever you need to build beforehand. If I had any advice, I would really focus on building an audience, especially if it's ed tech. So marketing and social media, you don't even know what product you need to build. If you just focus on building an audience, you can really talk to them and ask them what they're looking for in a product. Do their user research, do the customer discovery, build out early ideas, really feel so confident that you're building the right thing, and go and raise some money. And then when you have all of that down, quit your job. And the thing is, what I just described, that does not happen overnight. That can take years at time. And with years of a job, you can definitely build a good enough bank account where you can feel confident quitting. So I hope that was helpful. I don't know if that was what you wanted to hear. I don't want to sit here and say, yeah, go quit your job, go run after your startup dreams, because that is not realistic. I don't think that's good advice. I think a lot of the times we just over-romanticize that concept. It's really not that simple. I think if you come from wealth, sure, but that's not real life for everyone. Anyways, moving on. Hope that was helpful. Okay. Here's a good one. I always feel like I have to tone down my personality at my internships. I was told by a senior analyst at my first internship that I'm an intern and I should act like it. I've been struggling ever since to not step on anyone's toes or make anyone feel uncomfortable with my confidence. Advice? And then I actually had another girl follow up on that and said, I had the same issue at my internship. Are we simply expected to be like switches where we constantly change our personalities each day? I find myself changing my voice all the time. Okay. Well, here's the straight and simple obvious thing. Well, a company that doesn't want you for who you are and wants you to change for them is clearly a bad culture fit for you. Now, does that necessarily mean go quit your job, go find another job, blah, blah, blah? Not really. That's, again, not realistic advice. I think that super depends, right? If you have an idea of a place where you would be a better culture fit, where you don't think they would have you change your personality, obviously go do that. That's better for you. It's better for them. However, that's not real life, especially with big tech, big four situations where you're kind of just a pawn in their giant game. Yeah, it's their game. You have to play by their rules. If you don't, there are repercussions. I experienced that in my internship in college. I didn't want to play by the rules. I did not want to play FIFA and drink whiskey in the all-male eng team where I was a software engineer. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to be myself. I wanted to go hang out with other girls my age at the rooftop eating freaking avocado toast. And that apparently was a crime because I was not putting in the effort to spending time with my team. And there are repercussions for that. I was told off for that. And you have to think about, one, do you want those repercussions? And for me, it was worth it. I would never sacrifice my identity for anyone, anything, any company. And it gave me a really good idea of the type of company I do want to work for. And so the next company I went to, I really felt like I belonged there. And I actually had, when I was graduating college, I had final round interviews at Lyft, Dropbox, Facebook. I'm sure you know all these companies. I canceled all of them because at Atlassian, at the interview, I felt so deeply connected to the people there. And it kind of feels like I felt really connected to them because the founders were Australian, so a lot of the culture was Australian. And I grew up going to Australia every summer because my cousins lived there and hanging out with them. And if you don't have context on Australia, it has a very chill vibe. It's not the hustler, capitalistic world of America. And knowing my personal goals, knowing what I needed in a job, especially because my dreams were so much bigger outside that job, going in an environment where there's also a woman interviewed me. Oh my God, a woman interviewed me, guys. I'd never had a female interviewer in my life. So that was also huge. I really felt like there was an opportunity for me to be at home at this company and to really fit in and to get the work-life balance I was looking for, especially in my first job while I was tinkering on all the things I was going to do after. And I even stayed for longer than I wanted. I stayed for 3 years because it was such good culture. And I realized that in the moment, in the middle of my interview, and I went home and I got the job. I would say a few days later, they called me and got the job. I canceled all my final rounds at Lyft, Dropbox, Facebook, all Microsoft, all these companies that I had final rounds at. I was like, this is my intuition to tell me this is my place. I'm taking it. Why would I burn myself out flying to all these places doing final round interviews when I know I belong here? So I think you have two options, right? When it comes down to this, you can either change your personality to play office politics because maybe that career or that job is serving you some purpose right now that's going to get your next goal. Then do it. And no one said life was easy and rainbows and unicorns where you have everything you want at every moment in your life, right? So maybe you suck it up and play office politics because that Big Four job is going to get you, or that Big Four internship, whatever, is going to get you into this specific thing you want to do after college, which is going to land you to your dream career after that, right? I don't know what it is, but if so, yeah, suck it up. If not, if you're no, screw this, I don't want to change who I am. Yeah, okay, you need to go find another job now. And you have to be okay with the hustle and the hard work of doing that. And you have to keep in mind that you probably don't want to work at a big organization because that is their universe. That is their game that you are playing in if you are an employee there. So if you want to be more of yourself, you want to fit in more with the team and have more of a presence and have more of an identity, probably go for a smaller company, probably go for a startup. And many startups will not fit your vibe. So you also have to do the work of finding the startup that'll fit your vibe and then actually get the job. So with that comes with the territory. And like anything in life, nothing is perfect. So you have to think about your pros and cons and think about what you want. But yeah, this shit is real. Like life is not, especially not your career, it's not going to be easy. And there are going to be moments like this. Or you can just work for yourself like me. Then I'll just take anyone's shit. I'll do whatever. I wake up and I do whatever I want. But you take the cons of, having to find your own money and having to find your own health benefits and the risk of being an entrepreneur, which that is a rabbit hole that I will table that for maybe another question of someone who wants to start a company. We can talk about that there. Okay, so what should we do next? Oh, wow, these are heavy. And I just want to say I really appreciate you guys sending these questions because you really have to be vulnerable to send this stuff in. Okay. This one's good. I'm a rising senior in business admin, and I just wrapped up my internship at a Big 4. Received a return offer. Congrats. That's so sick. The deadline to accept a decline is coming up, and I'm stuck where I need more time to explore other roles and think critically if Big 4 is where I want to be in my early career. I'm lukewarm about the work we do, and the pay is good, but not the best. I just don't know where my next step is. Also, I want to be in a role where I can help people and make a real impact, be a positive force in someone's life. But I feel like I'm going to be doing grunt work for a while until I make a partner, and even then I'll be like, Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, so this is real. I feel you, girl. I decided to take the offer, even though it wasn't the impact I want to see in the world when I graduated college. But it came from a place of intentionality where I knew that it was a stepping stone to what I needed in my life, to my goals, instead of it being a blind decision of, I'm doing this because I don't know what else I'm doing, and even though I feel unfulfilled, I'm just going to do it because I feel lost, right? I think that if you have some sort of direction of what you want to do instead of Big 4, I would 100% say go for it. This feeling you feel of actually wanting to have real impact and wanting to do something more fulfilling and exciting than Big 4, like, it's not going to go away. It probably only gets stronger and stronger until you emotionally can't handle it anymore and have to quit out of literally like mental instability, which I'm just saying this comes from experience. Not just me, my friends too, who have had similar dreams as I have, and they've had to panic quit, right? So don't think that if you feel this today, you're going to eventually feel less or forget about it. Like, you're just going to feel more of it. That's just the honest truth. However, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to reject the Big 4, right? What I would do if I were you is, and this is assuming you don't really know what your next step is, because I can't really tell you what your next step is. You have to figure that out for yourself. But that takes time. And so do the time of exploring what you need to do next and figuring it out and getting whatever skills you need to land that on that Big 4's dime. Do it while you have the job. But here's where people mess this up. They don't fully commit to it. They will try to be great at work, and then they're going to try to overtime it by doing their internal self-discovery and self-exploration and side projects to figure out their next path. You will burn out. You will hate it. You will feel miserable. You have to start this job mentally checked out, like fully checked out, knowing that you're going to leave, knowing that this is not a means to an end, and you have to fully commit to that meta. So you have to You will literally put 10% in your job because you're literally doing it for just a paycheck, just to, in that moment, have some direction. Don't have this, like, because the worst thing you can do is not take this job but then not know where to go next, and then you have nothing, and then you're like panicking because you're like literally feel like a loser because everyone else has all these things and all this direction, and then you're like, fuck, what do I do? And trust me, if you have that feeling in your head, you will not be able to think clearly in order to make any good decision or find out anything interesting about yourself to land you the next step. So you need to give yourself the peace of mind. And yeah, Big Four check every month could give you that peace of mind. But if you're going to go and do that, do it knowing that there is something much better out there and that you're on that path. Spend 20% of your time on the job. Spend 80% of your time figuring that out, because anyways, you don't even want the job. So why try at it? And I kind of did that for a long time. And I realized that no one even noticed. And that is the reality of these corporate machines, where when you're a cog in the machine, that's what you are. So if you're not grueling overtime, putting your best forward, doing everything perfect, no one will notice. I promise you. Just do the bare minimum and figure out what is this next step for you. And we can go into advice on like how to discover that as well if you're interested. I can talk about it quickly here. That's like a totally longer discussion. So also DM me and we can chat more about that, what exactly those steps are for you. But you got to put yourself out there. It probably means moving to a big city, going to a shit ton of networking events. It means like doing a tons of informational interviews with people in spaces you're interested about. It means watching so many YouTube videos and reading a ton of books and articles and podcasts and diving yourself deep into spaces, into new careers, into different jobs you can do, different lifestyles you can have. Truly understand. And anytime you feel any sort of jolt of excitement about something, double down, triple down in learning about it and immersing yourself in that. And if you do that, there's going to be one moment where everything's going to click and make sense. You're going to know what to do. And then it's very simple after that. Then you have to figure out, okay, what are the steps I need to do to get that job or to start that company or to be more in that industry, whatever it is you discover, and go and do those steps. And again, do that in your 5 to 9 with that Big Four check coming in. And the second you have it figured out and you have the next opportunity, it's going to feel so right and you're going to quit like a badass. So that's what I would say. Easy to implement in theory, hard to implement in practice. So this is all a mindset though. It's a mindset about how you approach your day job and how you focus on your side exploration discovery process. So I hope that was helpful. I wish I could just tell you what that step was for you and be like, go do this, you'll love it. Like, there isn't one answer. It's just so different for everyone. And I'm still figuring out. Some days I'm like, I want to be a venture-backed tech entrepreneur. And others I'm like, I want to be a full-time creator. Or I want to start a community. Or I want to build a media company. Or like every single day there's something random and new in my head. And I'm just being open-minded about embracing it. And whenever I feel a jolt of excitement, just running down that lane. Exploring and learning everything about it and being fully open-minded to what it could possibly be, even if it's something I didn't expect I would like or I don't see myself as. So a key part of it is being open-minded. Okay. So here's another startup story. My story is a little different because I immigrated with my parents 10 years ago and I dropped out of high school due to a number of reasons, and I'm trying to finish it on time so I can apply to universities. In the meantime, I'm seriously pursuing my startup right now. And I've been heavily involved with the local ecosystem through incubators, competitions, networking events, extracurricular stuff, building a community. But unfortunately, come from an extremely non-supportive household. Don't want to trauma dump on you, LMAO, but yeah, sucks even more when you don't have a support system, especially within your own family. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say that is so badass that you are literally building a company and doing the hard work of getting your high school diploma at the same time. Like, that in itself is an accomplishment, and I just need you to know that. I would say that I can't sit here and pretend I empathize. My family's super supportive, but I can understand what it's like to have immigrant parents who feel very averse to the riskiness of building a company. So I get that. I want you to know that you can find support systems outside of your family, through friends, through partners, through other founders. Especially, it seems like you have been very involved in the local ecosystem through incubators and stuff. Can you find that support system there? Because having a support system, people who believe in you, people who really trust you and can motivate you is critical to succeeding here. And I would say that's like the number one ingredient for you to get through this. You have to find it elsewhere. Maybe that means spending more time and committing more of your personal investment into your peers outside of your family, because you need that right now. And if they're not supportive, but you feel confident in the direction, it is okay to take space from your family. I think that we often feel this internal entitlement that, we owe our family everything, they're number one. But let's normalize, if they're not good for our current goals, we can take a step back. I'm not saying cut them out of your life. I'm saying take a breathing room, take a step back. Spend more time with people who do lift you up, who do motivate, who do energize you, who can get you through this time right now that you're experiencing. The second thing I want to say is, girl, get your high school diploma. That shit is real. We still live in a capitalist society where a high school diploma is your credibility of just general intellect. So please get this. I can't say the high school diploma is, that meaningful, but it is meaningful to play in this game of society that we live in. So just get that and prioritize that. I think building a startup on the side is super commendable. In fact, it's going to be a huge leg up when you apply to colleges. I think we often think that, everyone's doing a company to apply to college, but not really. Like, most people don't have the guts to actually try their hand at building companies. So if you can do that, if you can do that well, I see Stanford, Harvard, all these Ivy Leagues in your door. And then when you're there, double, triple tap in to the wealth and the network that these types of Ivy League companies have and take your startup to the next level. Do that there, right? I think right now you got to focus on getting that diploma. And then when you get to college, go build your $1 million idea and then drop out, whatever. But then you actually can get that stamp from society that I graduated high school, and you can tap into the wealth and network of these universities and the resources they have. They have so many resources for helping you make your startup, especially if you can't get that from your family. That's like even more so why you need to really focus and prioritize and getting into one of those colleges right now, so that ecosystem at that university can be the thing that you lean on. And I really want to say that this is not trauma dumping, that you are heard, you are seen, and there are so many people out there who struggle with relationships with their family, getting through these hard times, and you should probably try to maybe reach out to some people who are going through some similar things and go through it with them, because having a community behind you is honestly the key. There's a reason why they say it takes a village. You need your village. And it's okay if it's not your family. And I believe in you. Cool. Okay, we have 3 more. And I am pumped. I am so excited because I feel like a lot of these questions are things that I've felt in the past. And I feel less alone right now. I feel heard too. So I hope you feel heard. Okay, next one says, I'm a junior in college. My first 2 years of college were online due to COVID. I passed with 4.0s, but learned nothing. Now that I'm in business school, I feel behind. I had taken all the prerequisites online and don't have a solid foundation. I was a very academic kid before COVID, but now I feel like everything fell apart. I'm currently applying for internships, and I feel like I'm not experienced enough for any of the positions. Okay. First of all, if you didn't learn anything in college, well, me too, girl. Like, we're not supposed to learn shit from college. These classes are kind of a scam. I gotta break it to you. So you feel like you didn't learn anything? Yeah, you and me and everyone else, girl. That is okay. That's fine. You're not supposed to learn through classes. You're supposed to learn through the shit you do outside of classes. And now that you're in the business school, sorry, I had to take a little gulp there. now that you're in the business school, you have a great environment and situation to go and explore, maybe building a company on the side, maybe doing a project with some of your friends and your classmates. Get that tangible experience outside of class. That is how you're going to learn real shit. If you really feel like that's a problem or you're not like learning, you got to get out of the classroom. Like you really do. Like it's just not the standard place to learn in today's world. I think the other thing you mentioned was you're applying for internships and you feel like you're not experienced enough for any of the positions. I hate to break it to you, girl, but you're not supposed to be experienced enough for a future position. The whole point of getting an internship or getting a job is you want to do the job so you can learn. Like, I just need everyone to just understand for one moment. Like, can we just stop for a moment and just focus on the fact that we are obsessed with applying for jobs that we are qualified for? That is not the point. The point is to apply for jobs we are not qualified for so we can get qualified on the job and then go do a harder job after that. And so if you're feeling unqualified before you apply, that is the whole point. And I'm so excited for you to get an internship and close that skill gap for yourself. Now, you're probably feeling frustrated because you're probably getting rejected to internships. It is not because you're unqualified. It's probably because you're either like you have a bad resume or you're not framing your experience correctly in the interview or you're just not applying to enough internships. This shit is a numbers game. Like, let me ask you, have you applied to 50 internships this week? If the answer is no, that's probably why. That's probably the only reason. So go and apply to more internships. This shit is a number game. And keep in mind that you're not supposed to be experienced. You're a junior in college. You're not supposed to know jack shit. Like, I knew nothing. When I was a junior in college, I hadn't even programmed a single line of code. Fast forward, I became an engineer and a product manager, and now I'm running my own company. So, what is that? I guess I was a junior in college 6 years ago. Okay, that's actually a lot of time. Okay, well, now you know I'm 26. And I really feel very young. I feel very young. I feel like I have a lifetime ahead of me to do 15 more careers if I want to. You have plenty of time to learn the skills you need to do. I need you to apply to more internships. I need you to just play the numbers game. And stop playing the victim mindset of I don't have an experience. That is the literal whole point. So just grind away at the interview prepping and show up more confidently. Show up like you have the experience to do the job. Who cares if you don't? Learn on the job. That is, like, we all do that. We all say we can do something and then we don't actually know how to do it. And then on act the actual job, we like figure it out. And I feel so confident you can figure it out. You got 4.0s, girl. I didn't get 4.0s. That is very difficult to do. If you can do that, you can do anything. 4.0s in college is like, that is tough. I'm sure everyone here can agree with that. Okay. Next one is, this one. Yeah. Okay. Ready, guys? Okay. I'm at Cornell studying business right now, and I feel really tired and miserable. I worked so hard in high school to get here, and now that I'm here, I feel like they've wasted a spot by giving it to me because I don't feel happy here. I'm not so sure exactly why I'm unhappy, but I've realized that I feel really different from my friends and peers. I tried fitting into the typical business internship roles like consulting and investment banking, but I'm someone who can't do something if I don't genuinely enjoy it. I feel so lost because I feel this pressure to be successful and have a huge internship, full-time job that's acknowledged by friends and family so that they don't worry about me or my future. Also, because my parents immigrated, I feel like I have to have a secure path that's ensured that they can understand and easily celebrate. I know it's valuable to have the security, but I feel really stuck because it's not my own personal first choice. Okay. Yeah, so that's real. If you have immigrant parents, the idea of choosing the least risky path, which is probably going to be corporate America, big tech, these financially stable careers, you got this pressure on your head to make something happen, to get that financial security in your career as fast as possible, aka in your first job. That is some real life pressure. I feel like I didn't exactly feel that pressure directly from my parents, but I did feel that pressure directly from my external society of just generally growing up in the Bay Area and Silicon Valley. And I want to say that I wasn't strong enough to ignore that feeling. I wasn't strong enough to say, I'm going to go start that company. I'm going to go do the thing that is going to bring real world impact because that is what I believe in, because that is what's going to give me joy. Instead, I was weak. I said, I'm going to get that thing that's going to validate me, that's going to give my parents that false security, to make them feel proud of me. And I'm going to do this thing that gives me happiness on the side. Well, guess what? I was not happy. And when I later on in life went to go seek that happiness for my job, guess who was not happy? My parents. Guess who around me looked down at me? The village I grew up in. I know they're all talking behind my back, like, what the heck is this girl doing, staring at this camera and mic, just blabbering at a camera all day? Like, does she think that's a job? Like, I'm sure they're all thinking that. But for me, my personal journey was I had to go do the thing that was so-called good on paper and validates all these external things to realize I don't give a shit about that. I care so much more about what I need for myself, for this career path that I want to go. I care about that way more than people think of me. And I had to go through and do the hard thing of getting that big tech job and feeling how much that sucked. And so might not be the right answer, but maybe you got to go get that big tech job to see how much that sucks. Because carving your own path and doing the thing that other people think is lame or what other people don't want for themselves and they're projecting onto you might be how you want it more. Like, right now you're conflicted. Right now you're like, I don't think I want this big thing, but everyone around me seems to want it, so why don't I want it? And my family and friends want this for me. So let's imagine a path where you don't go and get that big tech job or that big for job, whatever, investment banking, or whatever this, so-called like non-risky path that is stereotypical for someone from Ivy League to go to. Let's say you go and do that. You're going to know actually real hand what it feels like to have that validation. And then you're going to be very confident you don't want it. You're like, I thought I didn't want it, but I really know now I don't want it. And I got what it feels like to be validated, and I don't give a shit about that validation. Now, you could also go the other way where you're like, I love this job. This is great. They were all right. I was wrong. Great. Okay, perfect. Then you have the job. Now, there's this alternate path. Let's imagine that you go to a startup or you go start your own company or you go do something completely different. Maybe you're a solopreneur or whatever it is that gives you much more joy and fulfillment that you feel more excited about right now. But you will constantly have that lingering feeling of, well, what if I got something else? Or what does it feel like to be validated? What does it feel like to have my parents be so proud of me, grinning? And you might just hold that weight for the rest of your life and never actually be able to unlock your potential in this alternate path. And I knew that about myself. I knew that this path was for me, but I knew I had to do the other thing to feel the pain of doing what I don't want so deeply and use that energy as motivation to really fucking make it on this other path and prove everyone wrong. And I have not made it yet, girl, but I will. I will make it, and it's because I have conviction in myself. But more importantly, I cannot be wrong. That is so embarrassing. Everyone around me thinks I'm going to be wrong. I can't let them be right. And that fuel is my fire to getting what I want. Alternatively, you could just feel really confident about going doing the thing you want. Maybe it's unconventional. Maybe it's not what everyone else thinks of you. But really ask yourself, are you confident enough to not care what anybody else thinks? And if you are a literal god. I respect you so much. I don't think that is going to be an easy experience. But if you can do that, like, I will bow down to you. That's so much respect. I think that if you're feeling this way, though, you're probably not there yet. But you will get there. But it takes time. Allow yourself to do things that maybe are not obvious, maybe more conventional, maybe more stereotypical, or what people would validate for, so you can build that internal confidence you need to go do that hard thing. In order to succeed on that hard thing, confidence is everything. So if you don't have 110% confidence in yourself, I would not recommend. But I do feel 110% confident that you can find that confidence. So reflect and think about, where can you find that confidence? Even if it means the path to find that confidence is not your preferred path, but it's a means to an end to your dream job, dream career. All right. I have a very similar last question that kind of dabbles into a lot of the things we talked about. So I think I make this quick. But she says, I'm a student at McGill and everyone in my surroundings are going for investment banking roles. Seems like a common theme. However, I want to work where my creativity and problem-solving skills can come into play and make a serious impact at a purpose-driven company. I'm worried that I'm giving up opportunities that can lead me to financial security and stability. For you, girl, it seems like you know what you want. You want to work at a purpose-driven startup, and it doesn't seem like you want to go to investment banking. You seem to have a lot more clarity than some of the other questions submitted. It seems like your main worry is just financial security and stability. Well, there are a lot of very funded startups with thousands of employees where you can do really cool shit on purpose-driven missions and have high ownership. And you're maybe getting paid like 10, 20K more than that six-figure big tech job, or big four job, whatever, investment banking job, whatever, all these corporate jobs. In the long scheme of things, you're not going to think about that 10K, but you're going to think about, I had this rock star job that I loved coming to work every day. I would not feel scared of startups. I think we often think we get paid less at startups. Yeah, some startups, really small ones. There are so many startups that basically have like millions of dollars in funding. Like, you're not going to get paid less at that place. So if financial stability is what you're looking for, okay, then go look at the startups whose mission you align with that have raised a ton of money. And I think if anything this recession has taught us is that there is no career stability whether you're at a big tech company or not. Like, this shit is risky no matter what you do. It's definitely less risky than, just starting your own company. But at the end of the day, you're not really getting that security at that big tech company that we have all grown up being told. It's just as risky to join a startup in a big tech nowadays. Like, you get laid off or fired at any moment. So might as well go do the thing you actually want to do, especially if you have that clarity that you want to go work at a startup. So that's it, guys. That's the solo pod. That's the first episode. I answered all the 10 questions that I picked, and I want to hear your feedback, guys. Like, was this helpful? What should I have talked about more? And most importantly, like, what are you guys doing to get these dream careers? Because I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that I think about is coming from a place pre-pandemic, pre-recession. And I don't have all the right answers. These are just my thoughts. Take it with a grain of salt. But also tell me what you think and send in your questions. All right. See ya, girlies.